Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Lucia Rodriguez. I'm LCN's director, and I wanted to give a quick introduction and thank you all in part of the LCN team. Here's Lynn, the digital communications manager, and then Laura and Diamundra, which is going to introduce themselves very briefly. As Lynn said in the chat, we'll be recording this session. It's actually recording right now. So, and we're going to send this link to all of you so you can share it with your colleagues, because we know that were many people that wanted to connect, but unfortunately they didn't have internet connection, or they were busy on the field or with meetings, as we all are in these crazy times. And then we are aiming that in a couple of months, we're going to also put this recording up in our website so it can be more easily shared throughout all of our connections, because this is what LCN believes, that we need to share and support each other. So if we can share this further on, that will be great. This is our first social media and communications training that we're going to do. We have been doing some webinars, which some of you have already participated on different other tools, and it has been a great experience and a great way to connect and to learn from each other. So this is something that we want to continue to be doing, and we're really excited to do this specific training, because this is going to be a part of a follow-up of a social media guide that we delivered last year, I think, or like 18 months ago. So this is part of our Save Our Species grant project that's basically about helping and trying to build capacity in terms of communication and education tools, really trying to focus on our members' needs, what's going on the project side, with which species we're working with, and how we can actually share our work to be able to be shared with the public in terms that we can get more funding opportunities, more volunteers opportunities, where we can collaborate and share knowledge and learn from each other. So social media is a huge, important tool for this. And we have a great experts on it. They're going to help us out with this. Thank you so much, Diamundra and Laura, for all of your hard work on this. Of course, Lynn always, and then all the other LCN team, Dr. Sena, which is actually on the field right now, visiting the project site of our members for this project. So it's very exciting, and we're really happy and excited to see what's coming next for us and how we can always work together. As always, we say, please give us your feedback. Tell us what you felt that it's missing, how we can support each other better. This is a sharing space, a collaborative space, and it's about learning and working together to work for the conservation of lemurs and the well-being of people. So I think that with that, I'll give the space to Laura and Diamundra.
Hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Marhaba rehetra. Maheno tsara daholo be. Lucia zany le niteny teo, directrice ny Lemur Conservation Network izy dia zany tena asako eto zany traduire zay zavatra tenenin zareo. Dia mety hoe tsy vitako ny traduire amin'ny rehetrarehetra, fa aza misalasala raha ohatra hoe misy zavatra tsy araka kely na tsy azo kely fantatro hoe mahay anglais ihany nareo. Fa raha hoe mizatra tsy azo na tsy araka dia aza misalasala tonga dia manoratra ny teny gasy ao amin'ny chat zany. Dia araka ny lazaina teo faly miarahaba anareo dia tonga soa amin'izao atelier atrikasa moa zany izy ity amin'ny resaka fampiasana ny social media. Dia solotena ny LCN zany rehetra izay tonga, anisan'ny Lucia efa nyteneniko teo, Lina, dia Laura, dia za. Dia araka ny tenen'i Lucia teo no tsy eto amin'izao fa ato amin'ny LCN koa izy fa mbola any amin'ny terrain. Dia raha hoe résumena kely ny tenen'i Lucia teo dia hoe ity atrikasa ataontsika ity zany ao anatin'ny projet SOS hoe Save Our Species, zany hoe resaka protection ana espèce zany. Fantatritsika moa zany hoe lemur anisan'ny espèce tena arovana. Ka ny tena tanjona eto mbola horesahan'ny Laura io ihany fa hoe raha hoe mitsorina lesy dia communication amin'ny resaka conservation mba hananantsika opportunité kokoa zany hoe mahay alezy kokoa tsika dia afaka mizara hoe fantatry ny olona ny zavatra ataontsika. Dia izay angamba fa omeko ny Laura izay fitenenana dia aza misalasala raha ohatra hoe misy tenenina to dia manorata foana. I think that's it, Laura. You can go.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Laura Hemlock, and I have been volunteering with the Lemur Conservation Network for about 2 years now. And I'm the social media lead for LCN. So I do a lot of the writing and posting of our social media. And in my work life, I also do social media. I work for a university here, so I do communications and social media work at a university as well, and I'm excited to be here.
Laura zany mitarika antsika eto izy social media lead ato amin'ny LCN dia araka an'izay teo amin'ny fiainany koa zany amin'ny asany dia efa manao resaka social media sy communication ihany dia efa roa taona zay Laura no volontaire tato amin'ny LCN zany indray dia hamonjy heritaona zay ahako heritaona sy tapany tato amin'ny LCN dia resaka misy idirany resaka social media ihany koa ny ataoko plutôt communication manao post zany zay miara-miasa daholo ihany moa zany zay ato amin'ny LCN fa manao an'ilay post alefa amin'ny tambazotra tserasera'ny LCN araka ny efa hitanareo ireny.
All right, so today, this is kind of a brief of what we're going to go over today. This might be a review for some. Hopefully you'll take away some things that will help you in your work. We're going to cover mission and audience of thinking about for each of your posts, the main social media platforms. So we're going to be covering Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and then some tools that can help you with your work. We're going to talk about a little homework assignment and then a question and answer time at the end.
Dia ity zany agenda antsika androany zany hoe reto zavatra horesahana androany resaka hoe voalohany indrindra mila fantarintsika hoe inona ny tanjona sy ny karazany olona hotratrarintsika zany amin'ny social media antsika dia hijery karazana social media fampiasantsika karazana tambazotra tserasera dia Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Dia ity tools sy analytics ity indray resaka fitaovana sy fikafika ao ny tena misy zavatra intéressant zany ireo zavatra tsara ho fantatra zany mba fehezana tsara no fampiasana social media io indrindra zany hoe raha zavatra professionnel fa tsy hoe compte manokana. Dia farany misy zavatra satria eto zany zavatra pratika be no atao fa tsy tena hoe mitralala be fa exemple asotra izany no aseho dia farany misy asa kely ampanaovina antsika zany ahitana hoe ohatra ny ahoana ny fahazoantsika anazy dia misy fotoana moa zany ametrahana fantamina.
All right, so to start, I'd love to hear if you can type in chat, what social media networks are you using right now for your organization? Are you using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? What are you using for your organization? So if you can type it in chat.
Dia alohan'ny hanomboana zany araka ny teny Laura teo dia mba manoratra amin'ny chat daholo hoe inona avy no fampiasantsika na hoe mety mi-intéressé antsika ny social media ny ampiasain'ny organisation kokoa zany eto fa tsy miresaka hoe personnel.
I already see a couple Facebooks.
Ho an'ny hafa misy tonga dia soratra eo amin'ny chat sy fampiasanareo. Mbola tsy misy nampiasa Instagram ve? Ny Madagasikara voakajy inona le karazan'le Instagram sa Facebook sa Twitter tsisy manana compte Twitter ny amin'ny organisation anareo?
Well, hopefully by the end of today, I know we'll give you some tips on Facebook, but maybe also give you some ideas on how you can start using Instagram and Twitter as well. Especially with Instagram, you can connect Facebook and Instagram, which will show you ways to make it easy where you can post in one place for both Facebook and Instagram. Oh, it looks like someone's using Twitter too, so that's great.
Mety Facebook zany mahazatra antsika fa intéressant koa ny Instagram Twitter akana zay lohateo de hojerentsika koa izy androany.
All right, so when you're thinking about doing posts on Facebook or Twitter, there's a couple of things that are really good to keep in mind. The first thing is what are you trying to accomplish? What is your mission for the post? So I kind of think of it, there's kind of three main categories. So the first one is fundraising. If you're trying to raise money for a project or for your organization. There's also kind of general awareness. So we do this a lot at LCN where we want to talk to a general audience that might not know about lemurs. And so we use a lot of fun facts and cute photos of lemurs. Lemurs are cool and cute to kind of bring our audience in to educate them. And then the third thing is kind of action oriented. So if you want your audience to do something, so you want them to attend an event of yours, or if you want them to do a certain behavior, stop cutting down trees in this certain place or something like that. And when you think of your mission, your posts may have kind of a different flavor to them. So when we do fundraising, we did a big fundraiser in December. So all of our posts kind of related to our fundraising campaign in some way. Sometimes it was very clear, like we're raising money, or sometimes it would be a fun post, and at the end we'd mention our fundraiser. So knowing that was kind of our mission that month helped us kind of decide what we were going to post about.
Voalohany indrindra zany rehefa hanao post na amin'ny Facebook na amin'ny Instagram na amin'ny Twitter de mila fantarina foana aloha ny tanjony. Zay zany reto hita hoe mission hito de araka ny hita teo anankitelo ireo zany ny tanjona ny proposena aloha hatreto. Voalohany indrindra hoe fundraising, zany hoe isintomana, raha miteny gasy izy de hoe isintomana mpamatsy vola zany, satria hoe ny organisation antsika indraindray tsy matetika moa zany tsy mitady vola zany fa misy mpamatsy vola de ahitany mpamatsy vola anazy. Faharoa, fampahafantarana na fanabeazana olona zany mombana zavatra anankiray. De ny exemple niraisin'ny Laura teo hoe ny fampiasa ny stratégie ny LCN zany zao hoe mahafatifaty ny vaky en général, de mandeva sarina vaky izy mahafatifaty, manao pôzy mampimena ohatra zany. Fa mety hoe sy manana zavatra ampahafantarina koa tsika. Ary ny farany de manetsika ny olona hanao action, zany hoe mety hoe nilazainy teo moa hoe aza manapa-kazo, na hoe raha momba ny varika ny antsika ohatra de hoe azo ompiana ny varika fa mijaly, fa mety hoe tsy fantatry ny olona zany fa tsika mampafantatra. De arakaraka ny tanjona tiantsika tratrarina zany ny karazana post atao fa tsy hoe mitovy daholo koa. Zany hoe raha isitina mpamatsy vola tsika de misy karazana post tsara atao. Raha ampafantatra tsika de hoe ohatrany ahoana ny atao fa tsy hoe mitovy daholo.
So another thing to think about then is your audience of, who are you targeting with your message? How old are they? Where are they located? So, are they a more rural audience or a more urban audience? Or is your audience, are you looking to, have a more local audience in Madagascar? Or are you trying to have a broader audience that's more international? And that will kind of help you decide what your message is. For LCN, on our Facebook, we have some posts that are in English that are kind of meant for a more international audience. And then we also have posts that are really meant for our audience in Madagascar. So it's in Malagasy. So we've made that decision to kind of target several kinds of audiences.
Ny zavatra important faharoa dia ny audience. Aoriana l'émission teo zany dia mila fantatra koa hoe karazan'olona ohatry ny ahoana, sokajin'olona ohatry ny ahoana no tianao hotratrarina zany hoe maharay an'le mahita an'le poste, ho tianao anaraka ny page ny organisation. Dia ny ahafantarana izay sokajin'olona izay voalohany indrindra aloha mety arakaraka ny taona, zany hoe tsy mitovy ny poste raha hoe mikendry zaza ohatra na hoe mikendry olon-dehibe, mety samihafa ny zavatra tadiavin'ireo. Dia arakaraka ny toerana ihany koa, zany hoe mety hoe misy olona amin'ny toerana spesifika tiana hotratrarina dia manaraka an'izay ny poste atao, na koa hoe olona eto Madagasikara ve sa olona any ivelany dia arakarak'izay misafidiana hoe atao amin'ny teny gasy sa janona amin'ny teny anglais sa izy roa sa teny frantsay sa hoe teny inona no teny ampiasaina zany rehefa manao an'ilay poste.
So kind of moving into some, general tips across all social media. One important thing to use is hashtags. So hashtags are a way of showing what your post is about or what it relates to. People use hashtags to search for certain topics. So they might not necessarily know about your organization, but they might be looking for something in Madagascar or something about lemurs. This is especially useful in Instagram and Twitter. It is used on Facebook too, but really, really useful in Instagram and Twitter. And it helps people find your organization that might not already be following you. If you've seen any hashtags related to any hashtags related to your work, you can put them in chat. We do research to see, what's popular and what's related to our work. Here's some examples that we use. We always use lemur and lemur conservation, Madagascar, and then we use more general hashtags too, like animals or cute animals, to kind of draw in an audience that might not necessarily know a lot about lemurs, but are interested in, cute photos of animals, and then we draw them in and educate them about lemurs. I see Lynn put in a couple other really great examples: education, reforestation, Malagasy. These will help people find your work.
Miditra amin'ny resaka fikafika amin'izay tsika zany hoe no mampahomby ny poste amin'ny social media amin'ny tambazotra serasera. Dia voalohany indrindra dia ny hashtag. Ny hashtag le mot le misy dièse eo aloha ohatra ny eo amin'ny sary io. Dia ahoana ny fomba fampiasana hashtag? Ny hashtag zany ahafantarana hoe momba n'inona ny poste ataonao. Zany hoe raha manao hashtag ianao hoe Lemur, dia rehefa misy manao recherche zany hoe mitady zavatra izy ohatra momba ny Lemur na momba ny Madagasikara na ohatr'izany, dia miseho eo ny postanao raha nampiasa an'ilay hashtag ianao. Dia anontany kely nareo zany, miteny loharano teo hoe ina avy ny karazana tambazotra serasera tena mampiasa hashtag, inona avy le izy. Miteny izy teo amin'ilay anankitelo resantsika, ny anankiroa amin'izay no tena fampiasana hashtag, fa ny anankiray tsy dia fampiasa. Dia afaka minoratra ao amin'ny chat ho an'izay mahatadidy an'ilay izy teo. Dia afaka manoratra ao amin'ny chat koa nareo raha ohatra misy hashtag efa vitanareo hoe fampiasan'ny organisation mitovy anareo, na hoe efa nampiasanareo mihitsy raha efa mahay mampiasa nareo. Inona avy liana zao reo mipropose hoe éducation, reforestation, ohatrohatran'izao zany le karazana hashtag, ahafantarana hoe inona no hoe momba n'inona ny poste ataonao. Dia ny hashtag zany eritreretina tsara hoe inona ny votoatin'ilay poste, fa tsy indraindray mantsy tsika manao hashtag dia tsy hoe phrase lava be na hoe tianao atao mangamanga fotsiny izy na ohatr'izany, fa tsy izay le izy, fa mila zavatra eritreretina tsara le izy.
Another great way to add content to your social media is sharing content from other organizations. So you don't always have to do all the work. It's great to find partners that you can, organizations that are related to your work. You find their information and you can share them on your pages. I'll show some examples in a minute. So on Facebook, you can share it from their page to your page. Twitter, you can retweet. And then I'll show you a cool app for Instagram that lets you share others' work from Instagram. Another great thing is to invite others to share your work. So when you have a great post, you've spent time, took a picture, have a nice description, you can invite other organizations to share your work. Like LCN, we love sharing our partners' work. So if you have a great post, you can let us know, and we love to share them too.
Fikafika manaraka an'izay mba tsy hoe tsy maintsy amorona poste foana dia afaka atao koa ny mizaha postan'ny organisation hafa. Ohatra hoe partenaire mihitsy na hoe organisation misehatra amin'ny conservation hafa ihany koa. Fa antanina zany zareo hoe mba hizaha ny postanareo izay. Dia raha amin'ny Facebook mety efa haintsika ihany manao partage amin'ny Instagram. Misy aty atao hoe riposte app aty aseho alora review ny fomba fampiasana anazy. Dia amin'ny Twitter izy misy retweet mbola ho hitantsika review ihany koa. Dia faharoa indray raha ohatra hoe tsy hizaran-dray nareo fa tianareo hoe zarain'olona ny zavatra postenareo. Zany hoe mety hoe misy zavatra hitanareo intéressant hoe ty tsara raha betsaka mahita hoe ty tsara zarain'ny LCN ohatra. Dia aza misalasala zany to dia contacter ireny organisation ireny mba miaraka mizaha an'ity fa ito ohatra hitovy asantsika aloha hevitra. Dia aza misalasala mandefa amin'ny LCN raha ohatra hoe misy poste na zavatra tsara hitanareo hoe tsara ho zaraina.
So I'm going to pull up an example. This here's the Duke Lemur Center's Facebook page, and I'm going to just share something from their page to our page. Another important thing to remember is when you share content, to use your organization's Facebook, not your personal one. So it's very clearly being shared to your organization. So I'll show you how that works. So I want to share this post. I go right here to share. I'm going to share to a group, or to a page. And I'm going to choose the organization page, Lemur Conservation Network. So you have the option, you can just share it as is, or you can write something in there. I wrote something beforehand, so I'm just going to copy and paste to make it quick. So I wrote a little message, and then I hit share. So then it's going to post. And so then I can view what it looks like. Here it is on our organization page. And now this shared post is now on our page.
Naseho aloha iny ny exemple raha hoe mipartager organisation postana organisation hafa amin'ny Facebook. Ohatra ny efa mazava ihany izy teo fa aza misalasala raha ohatra hoe misy fanontaniana tonga dia soraty eo amin'ny chat na amin'ny teny gasy fa ohatran'ilay nataony teo zany hoe mety efa haintsika ihany partagena fotsiny dia tsara asiana message kely miaraka aminazy dia tonga dia lasa any amin'ny page.
So on Twitter, I'll just quickly show there's a couple things you can do to share a post. So there's this video is here for WWF Madagascar. And if I want to share to our Twitter feed, I click this little retweet button. And then I have the option to either retweet, which would, again, just puts it automatically in our feed, or you can do a quote tweet, which lets you add a comment. But right now I'm just going to do a retweet, which is really easy. And now it turned green, but if I go back to my Lemur Conservations, now that video is now on our feed.
Dia ohatran'izay indray ny amin'ny Twitter misy hoe partager fa misy hoe retweet ilay naseho aloha teo tsotra ihany koa ilay izy olona mitady izay poste intéressant fotsiny hoe tsara partager eo ambany eo misy karazana bouton be dia be misy hoe mireagir, commenty, dia misy hoe partager. Dia tonga dia lasa any amin'ny pagen'ny organisation koa izy. Rehefa voapartager rehefa mitsidika an'ilay retweet zany.
And then for Instagram, I'm gonna mirror my phone here. Here's another Lemur organization's page, and I want to share this photo right here. And so on Instagram, you have to use another app called Repost. But I touch the little 3 dots up at the top and go to copy link, which then lets me go right to this Repost app. And you can see that image that post just showed up at the very top. So if I tap on that, it lets me decide where I want to put. It puts the name of the organization I am taking this from. Then I can hit repost. I can say all media or current photo. I'm going to say all media. And then it takes me right back to my to Instagram, where I can now post this. So it actually saves the caption from the original post. So if I hit paste, it saves the caption and just says repost, and then has the whole caption. If I hit OK and hit share, it will now share it to LCN's Instagram page.
Dia ohatran'izay indray zany raha hoe manao partage amin'ny Instagram, izy indray tsy tena tsotra kely ohatran'ny amin'ny Facebook, fa misy application hafa ampiasaina zany hoe mila télécharger aloha ilay application hoe Repost app, ilay nasehoan'ny Laura teo zao izy. Dia rehefa hita amin'izay ilay post ho zaraina, tiana ho zaraina hoe ito misy hafatra tiana ampitaina ka ho zaraina. Dia misy tsara tadidina, misy an'ilay teboka kely anankitelo eny ambony. Iny zany karazana option eo amin'ilay sary, eo amin'ilay poste, eo amin'ny poste ilay organisation nandefana azy zany. Dia klikena eo dia misy hoe copier lien. Dia ilay iny avy eo no alefa any amin'ny Repost app, ilay niteneniko hoe mila installena teo zany. Dia tonga dia misokatra ny daholo, hitany eo daholo zany hoe ito ilay post tany amin'ny Instagram tarisy zany. Dia ekena sisa ilay izy atao ok zany repostena. Dia collena eo koa zany misy zany caption, zany hoe ohatrany hoe ilay soratra teo amin'ilay sary original zany collena eo koa, satria mila miteny zany ianao hoe tsy sarinao hoe tsy postanao ilay izy, fa mila manome crédit any olona zany. Dia postena ilay izy, dia avy eo ohatran'ny Facebook ihany lafany amin'ny page Instagram anao.
Right, so another thing you can do in Facebook and Instagram is boost ads. So if you have a little money in your budget, you can pay for more people to see your post. And a little bit can go a long way depending on where you're trying to boost the ad. So when you boost an ad, you have the ability to choose your audience. So you can decide, we only want a Malagasy audience for this boosted post, or we want an international audience, and you can decide on gender, age, things like that. And you can start with just a little bit of money. So I know we've done $1 US, which I think is 4,000 Malagasy currency, if I'm right. Dimandri can correct that if I'm wrong. And it significantly boosts how many people will see your ad. You do need to have on Facebook an account that is connected to a credit card. So if you have an international partner, that's another, they can help with this as well. we have this kind of how to do this explained really well in detail in our guide, which if you don't have already, we'll make sure that everyone has that as well.
Dia fikafika manahaka ao fantatro rehefa hoe miresaka social media na hoe tambazotra serasera dia ny fanaovana boosting ads fa izy io fotsiny payant zany hoe mandoha vola zany dia araka ny teny Laura partirana le izy zany tsy en arrière fa en dollar dia à partir ny $1 io dia efa afaka manao compte international, compte PayPal reny zany mifandraika amin'ny compte Facebook ny organisation dia ny tena tsara zany raha ohatra hoe misy partenaire international zany avy any ivelany na ohatra zany afaka booster ny page dia tsara kokoa mora kokoa izy amin'izay noho ny mbola hanokatra hoe compte crédit sy ohatran'izay fa raha misy raha mahafantatra olona any ivelany manao an'ity boost ity dia mety be izy io dia ny mampiavaka amin'ny boost ak'izay hoe boost zay zany hoe manosika le izy dia lasa be dia be ny mahita ny poste alefanao iny dia rehefa mandefa an'le boost ianao dia afaka misafidy mihitsy hoe olona ohatra ny ahoana no tianao ahita an'le izy kokoa olona any ivelany kokoa ve misafidy pays olona eto Madagasikara kokoa ve tanora kokoa ve lehibe ve sy ohatran'izay dia rehefa mahita boost koa ianao dia afaka ianganao zay anaovana analyse hoe ohatra ny ahoana kokoa ny olona intéressé amin'ny poste izay ataonao.
Another thing to think about when you're creating posts is kind of what story you're telling. People love a good story. So thinking about focusing on something interesting. It could be focusing on a person, planning an event, a particular species. We did a series on female Malagasy scientists that was really popular. Another thing is thinking about the language you use and relating it to your audience. So with us on Instagram and Facebook, our audience is more of a general audience that doesn't have a lot of knowledge about, might not have a lot of knowledge about lemurs. So we use the common names of lemurs. On Twitter, we have a lot more of an expert audience. So we often use the lemur scientific names on Twitter. So just thinking about your audience and the language you use is really helpful. People love stories. So especially if you have a good photo go with a story, finding a focus can be really, really helpful.
Fikafika manaraka indray ny tantara, zany fitantarana zavatra zany. Misy zavatra omanina mihitsy zany hoe misy hetsika ve quelque part sa be hoe misy olona hitanao ohatra ny tsara zaraina ny zavatra ataony na ny tantarany mihitsy. Misy fotoana zao ny teneny teo hoe misy fotoana izay nanao série scientifique gasy vehivavy. Zany zao ny anisan'ny tena nanintona olona indrindra raha tato amin'ny LCN ohatra. Dia na koa hoe mizara mikasika ny olona ny fotony. Ireny zany hatreto aloha dia tian'ny olona foana, mbola tsy misy hoe poste ohatran'ireny ka tsy nanitikitika ny olona na hasarika ny olona zany. Dia rehefa manao ny fitantarana io dia miverina amin'ilay tany voalohany ihany hoe mila fantatra ny audience na hoe ny olona tiana tratrarina. Raha ohatra zany ka olona tsotra ny tianao ahita mihitsy, zany hoe tsy mahafantatra momba havarika mihitsy dia tsy andeha hampiasa mihitsy ianao non scientifique anavarika fa tonga dia le fiantso azy izao ny anaran'ireny, any amin'izao ny toerana misy ohatran'ireny. Fa amin'ny Twitter antsinina plutôt scientifique kokoa ny olona dia amin'ny Twitter indray mahazatra ny olona kokoa mampiasa non scientifique an'ilay lemurien zany hoe tenena mihitsy ty Propithecus diadema ohatra na ohatr'izay dia tonga dia mahafantatra daholo. Dia miverina amin'ilay tamin'ny lazaina ty zany hoe mila fantatra aloha hoe ohatra ny ahoana ny olona hita an'ilay izy satria raha tsisy azony kory iny mandalo an-dranomasina io dia tsy ahasarika anazy mihitsy. Fa raha hoe fantany tsara indray dia mahasarika anazy.
It's So just kind of a brief overview of these main three platforms and kind of who's using them and what they're great for. I know a lot of you are using Facebook. So a lot of people are using Facebook in Madagascar. It's still very popular in the US and abroad, especially with probably people that are 30 years old and older are still really using Facebook a lot. And it's a great place for sharing links and photos and updates. While Instagram in the United States and abroad, it's definitely, the younger populations are using it a lot, much more than Facebook. And it's definitely up and coming in Madagascar as well. And Instagram is really great for more visual things, so videos and photos. Twitter is a great place for the science community. A lot of experts are on there and sharing, scientific articles and other important things too. So we found for the conservation world, Twitter is really, really great to connect with others in the science community.
Reto indray zany ny fahitantsika tamin'ny voalohany ihany hoe reto le karazana tambazotra zany tena fampiasa aloha hatreto. Mety hoe misy hafa fa reto zany tena betsaka fampiasa. Dia efa fantatritsika daholo angamba hoe raha ny eto Madagasikara aloha dia Facebook no tena mahazatra ny olona. Fa tsara ho fantatra ihany hoe ny any ivelany ny olon-dehibe ny tena fampiasa an'io, izany hoe ny olona efa nahazo taona mihitsy. Raha ohatra hoe tanora any ivelany no audience tiana hotratrarina dia tsara kokoa mampiasa Instagram. Fa ny Facebook indray mety efa fantatritsika mora izy zany. Eny mety hoe le izy mahazatra antsika koa, moramora kokoa mampiasa azy, partager zavatra, partager lien izy tsotra kely. Dia ny Instagram efa manomboka betsaka mpampiasa ihany eto Madagasikara, tokony efa s'intéressé amin'io ihany koa zany. Ary ny tena mampiavaka ny Instagram dia izy hoe sary sy vidéo ny tena betsaka aminazy, izy zany tsy be texte sy soratsoratra be, fa sary dia ny qualité ana sary zany zany tena mampiavaka ny Instagram. Ary ny farany Twitter miaraka ny efa notenena teo ho an'ny scientifique kokoa, zany hoe rehefa manokatra Twitter ianao dia tonga dia article scientifique no hitanao ao. Miaraka ny hita teo hoe mampiasa nom scientifique ny olona sy ohatran'izay zany efa mahafatapatatra kokoa. Dia tsara afantarina zany ireo karazana ireo, afantarana hoe iza no tsara ampiasaina rehefa ampiasa avy eo.
So Facebook, this is going to be absolutely a review for a lot of you since you all use Facebook a lot. There are many different kinds of posts you can do. I'd say, the most common is just a general post like this. It shows up on your organization's, page. There's also stories that are, very short. They last 24 hours that you can have on your page. Messenger to, communicate directly with folks. We get lots of people that message our LCN's Facebook with questions or comments, or so that's an important thing to keep an eye on with your organization if people have questions that you can respond to. As I talked before, there's boosted posts where you can take a post you've done, put a little money in, and it'll get a bigger audience. And then you can also do the events with Facebook Live. So you can have an event that people can watch live on your page, and it'll also save the video so that people can watch it if they don't watch it live.
Ny jerentsika voalohany Facebook mety efa tena diso fainareo loatra angamba. Aleonareo indray ny antaniko hoe inona raha no mampiavaka ny post sy ny story amin'ny Facebook, afaka mamaly eo amin'ny chat ho an'izay mahafantatra. Dia ankoatran'ny post sy ny story izay mety efa mahazatra antsika ho an'izay mampiasa moa zany, dia misy koa ny message tsy afaka negligena mihitsy zany, fa mety hoe misy olona intéressé ao, mety ao ny ahitana partenaire ohatrany ny te hanontany zavatra na ohatran'izany, dia mila jerena ihany zany message, fa indraindray mantsy tsika variana aty amin'ny page en général dia tsy dia mijerina any ambadika. Ny boost efa hitantsika teo ny fanaovana azy, ary ny farany ny live koa indraindray adintsika manao événement ohatra tsika any, dia tsara ihany ampisehoan'ny olona ny zavatra atao aminy manjary tsy mahafantatra kokoa noho ny asa ataontsika zany. Dia raha misy hetsika na zavatra intéressant dia aza misalasala manao live amin'ny Facebook raha intéressant sady mora ampiasaina ilay izy. Dia izay rehetra izay moa amin'ilay guide nalefa niaraka amin'ny mail iny foana ao daholo zany ny détail afaka miverina mamaky an'iny isika zany rehefa manam-potoana na hoe vonona amin'izay te hampiasa an'ilay stratégie dia aza misalasala koa mandefa mail na amin'ny LCN na manontany eto raha hoe misy fanontaniana raha mikasika ny Facebook ino efa fantatritsika daholo. Misy mahafantatra ve le mahasamihafa ny post sy ny story? Ny story 24 heures ihany. Mety efa misy mpandefa story tsika fa ny post le hita ao amin'ny page fa ny story le 24 heures ihany fa iny nefa ny enregistré any amintsika ihany.
All right, so with Instagram, there are 4 types of posts you can do. A general post that might look like this, that are generally square photos, but can now be a little different sizes. And you can also do video. Stories that again are that short 24 hours that show up at the top of people's on the app. You can do live video on Instagram as well as reels, which are similar to TikTok, that are short videos that you can add, special effects to as well. And I'll show some examples, but I'll let Diamandra go first.
Ny Instagram indray araka ny tenena teo fa betsaka efa manomboka betsaka eto Madagasikara ny mpampiasa azy. Dia efa tokoa s'intéressé aminazy ihany tsika. Dia izy ohatran'ny Facebook ihany misy post tsotra, misy story, misy live, dia misy an'ity reels ity, zany hoe vidéo ho an'izay mahafantatra TikTok dia ohatran'ny TikTok izy io. Fandefasana vidéo dia afaka asiana effet le vidéo, afaka asiana hira miaraka aminy, misy ohatran'izany. Dia mikasika ny story tena hitako mahatsara ny Instagram, mety sarihana mpanaraka be izy io satria misy option be dia be ny story any Instagram. Tsy haiko ho an'izay efa nampiasa mety efa nahita ve, afaka asiana sarisary, soratra, afaka ovaina ny soratra, hetsika ny soratra, afaka asiana fanontaniana eo, ohatran'ny hoe manao sondage kely dia tonga dia alefany automatikany aminao valiny. Afaka ohatran'ny hoe mandefa sary ianao événement any aminareo na ohatr'izany dia mandefa fanontaniana kely maka aminazy hoe fantatrao ve ity na hoe fantatrao ve izao hetsika izao na ino ohatr'izany, dia tonga dia mamaly direct ny olona dia anisan'ny mora azona mpanaraka kosa izay.
So I'll bring up my phone here again. So at this little plus button at the top, again, it shows those 4 different options. At the bottom, there's that live video or the reel that does the TikTok style photos. Then there's story and post. So all the story, the posts, the regular posts are these ones down here. So you can see here's that one I did earlier, which is a repost. You can also have multiple photos in one post. So we had this educational one right there. And then there's the stories, and that's what I wanted to show you. So right now, if I click on here, this shows a story that we posted, that we reposted from another account, and it'll be up here for a few more hours. I'm pausing it. You can also save those, any stories you do, you can save them down here in these collections. So anytime we do a story about merchandise, we'll put it here. This one's from 89 weeks ago. And you can save them longer than the 24 hours. But there's a lot of cool things you can do with stories. So if I can take any sort of photo from ours to share, and I use this little kind of paper airplane looking button to go to add post to our story. So from here, there's a lot of different things you can do. You can add text. You know, you can change the font, the color, you can add movement to it. But a lot of the cool things are under this kind of sticky note. There are these things called stickers. So you can add things that are more interactive for your audience. So you can have polls, you can have questions, add hashtags. This is something, you know, you can add, you can say, you know, how cute. And I can decide actually what emoji that is. So I could say, you know, heart. I want to find a heart. Put that heart right there. So now when someone comes and sees this, they can use this little slider to interact with our story. And then I click your story down at the bottom. And now if I go back to the top of our account, you'll see this is now part of our story. So stories can be really fun, an easy way to share other content on Instagram or reshare your own content.
Izay naseho an'ny lohato izay zany ny Instagram amin'ny telefona kokoa zany mora ampiasaina ny Instagram araka ny hitantsika teo a dia rehefa misy ohatran'ny plus kely ny tsara tadidina fotsiny angamba misy ohatran'ny plus kely eny ambony a dia iny sokafana dia misafidy hoe anao post, story, live sa reels ilay nitenena teo hoe vidéo kely afaka asina effet atao asina zavatra zany miaraka aminazy manintona azy. Dia ny manao post to dia manoratra fotsiny mandeva sary. Ny stories zany naseho an'teo araka ny efa niteneniko ihany eo amin'ny stories feno ina zany lazazany fitaovana kely sa hoe zavatra kely be dia be ingaina miakatra rehefa tonga amin'ilay andefa story dia ingaina miakatra ilay izy a misy ohatran'ny tsipika kely ambany dia eo misy hoe afaka mametraka fanontaniana manisy soratra ovaovaina soratra asiana sary hafa miaraka aminy identifiena ny organisation hafa. Dia izay zany tena mampiavaka ny Instagram aloha iny story iny ray. Dia misy koa ny live mitovy amin'ny Facebook ihany a. Dia raha ohatra hoe nanao exemple izy teo hoe hampartager post anao ihany amin'ny story anao zany a dia ho akaikin'ilay sary fotsiny misy partager dia hoe afaka hoe alefa any amin'ny story. Dia iny story iny tena anisany manintona olona.
Another thing in Instagram is they don't really let you put a lot of links. So in each post, you can't really put a link. So you're allowed to have one link in the bio of your organization's account. And so we use a program called Linktree that lets us have one link that then goes to a page, and I'll show you in a second, that looks like this. That lets you have multiple links. So I'll bring up my, the phone again here. So here on our page, you have this thing called right here that says Linktree. And if I click it, it brings me to this page that has all sorts of links. And so if I have a post, let's say about shopping, different places where you can buy things to support lemur conservation. And I'll say, go to the link in our bio, and they can click on that. Then they go down to where it says shop. They tap that, and then it brings them right to our store. So it's a nice way to be able to have multiple links in Instagram.
Ny amin'ny Instagram ny indro kely aminy dia ny fizarana lien. Amin'ny Facebook raha hitantsika raha ny remarquentsika dia ohatran'ny hoe mipartager lien fotsiny dia n'aiza zany fa ny ivelan'ny Facebook dia partagena sur Facebook dia dia mipotro hoe ty lien le zavatra dia mipotro hatramin'ny sary mahavita post kely anankiray mihitsiny. Fa ny amin'ny Instagram anankiray ihany no lien afaka atao eo amin'ny profil dia atao misy hoe bio zay rehefa manokatra amin'ny profilan'ny organisation zany ianao a dia eo amin'ny voalohany indrindra hoe misy bio ny anaran'le atao eo le soratra ohatrany hoe organisation sehatra amin'ny conservation zaisatra zany dia misy link iray afaka atao eo dia nefa ianao mety hoe manana zavatra maromaro tiana ho partagena mifanaraka amin'ny Instagram lien maromaro dia mampiasa an'ity atao hoe link tree ity zany hoe mila manokatra miditra amin'io mihitsy dia manokatra compte dia manaraka an'izay ao tsotsotra kely ny ao misy fotsiny hoe ampidirina eto ireo lien tiana ho hipoitra dia reto zao ny LCN misy karazana lien maromaro hoe lien site web lien fividianana akanjo le naseho aloha teo lien ianarana resaka blog dia atambatry link tree anaty lien iray io dia io lien iny no atao en bio dia mitemina fotsiny hoe hividy akanjo ianao dia midira amin'ny lien en bio dia manokatra le lien le dia tonga dia ohatran'io mipoitra ny aminazy dia afaka misafidy eo izay misy karazana lien maromaro afaka sokafana ato.
So Twitter is a little more simple. You can do your own tweets, like this example right here, where you have a photo, a link, and a short message. Each tweet can only have 280 characters, so very short. And you can retweet others, like I showed before of how to share others. And then there's Twitter threads. So I know sometimes you have a message that doesn't fit in one tweet. So you can do what's called a Twitter thread. And I'll show that example in a second, where you link multiple tweets together in kind of a thread of stories. So if you have a longer thing you want to tell, you're able to still use Twitter to get your story across.
Ny amin'ny Twitter indray ny endrikelony koa dia limité ny soratra afaka atao ohatran'io amin'ny sary io zany. Io soratra eo ambony io hoe looking for ways io etc. 280 lettres litera 280 ihany no afaka soratana eo zany dia raha hoe hitatara zavatra lava ianao dia ahoana raha ny atao dia misy ny atao hoe Twitter threads zany hoe fitambarana tweets maromaro izy io dia ahoana raha manao an'izay manao tweet ianao ny atao hoe tweet zany aloha dia karazana post amin'ny Twitter manao tweet ianao anankiray ohatrany amin'ny sary manohatra hoe ianao mbola tsy tapitra ny zavatra tianao ho tenenina dia manao répondre na hoe reply to yourself eo ambany le misy anankiefatra izy eto ambany dia ny anankiray amin'ireo misy hoe répondre dia mamaly ny tenanao ihany zany ianao antoy an'ilay izy dia efa fantatry ny olona zany rehefa manokatra iny izy hoe toy an'ity post anankiray ity tweet anankiray ity dia mitambatra ao ilay izy mety hoe misy maromaro dia izay fitambarana izay no atao hoe Twitter threads dia iny zany ny ohatrany hoe raha handefa zavatra lavalava dia ohatran'izay ny fampiasan'ny olona dia ny retweet efa niresantsika teo hoe raha hipartage tweet an'olo ka ohatran'ny partage amin'ny Instagram sy Facebook ihany.
So if I'll just show an example that we did a while ago of a Twitter thread. So we did a thread about this specific lemur species. So we couldn't fit it all in one. So you can see we mentioned that it's a thread. We've got the little emoji pointing down, and then we had several photos and different facts about this lemur, all part of this thread. And you can see, other people retweeted and liked these. And then we ended this story. This was during our fundraiser. So we ended this with saying, and we have our fundraiser. So get people interested. And then we had our fundraiser plug at the end.
Inaseho indray zany ny fanaovana an'le Twitter threads teneniko teo zany hoe tweet maromaro mifandray dia ny eto zany zao ny LCN anao fundraising zany hoe fitadiavana mpamatsy vola dia tsy tonga dia nanao post anankiray fotsiny izay manao fitadiavam-bola izay dia izay fa asiana contexte dia nandefa izy aloha tweet voaloha manazava hoe inavy ny hetsika mikasika an'izay so zany dia tany farany izy vao nanao tweet anankiray mikasika an'ilay fitadiavam-bola dia ny fitambaran'izay zany natao hoe Fred dia reny miaraka foana zany rehefa Fred zany hoe rehefa manongotrana anankiray ianao dia to dia manaraka ho azy eo ambany daholo ilay toy ihany fa tsy hoe mbola tadiavina akory.
So another great tool that you can use for Facebook and for Instagram if you have a business account is this. It's now called the Meta Business Suite. I think it used to be called the Facebook Business Suite. And it lets you do a lot of things from boosting posts to looking at analytics to scheduling, which is the thing I want to talk about of if you have limited time, you've got a lot going on, you might only be able to devote a small amount of time a week to doing social media. And so a scheduler can be really helpful of where you can come up with your posts for the week or even a month and schedule them ahead of time so that you kind of can focus on it for a little bit of time. That's what we do at LCN is once a week, I sit down at my computer and do the post for the coming week using a scheduler. And Facebook has its own scheduler through the Meta Business Suite that I'll show you how to schedule. I'll show you an example in just a second.
Anisan'ny fitaovana tena manamora ny amin'ny resaka fampiasana tambazotra zany dia ity scheduler ity zany hoe fandaharana mialoha ny poste izay mety hoe poste amin'ny herinandro iray volana dia ianao zany tsy voatery hoe hanao poste androany dia tsy maintsy hoe androany ihany ny amorona sy andefan'ilay izy fa na ataonao en avance ary iny dia amin'ny iray volana vao publier dia mety. Dia ny Facebook Meta Business Suite ny ampiasaina sady misy Facebook moa io misy Instagram mitambatra ao dia misy option be dia be mihitsy ao amin'io fa tsy resaka hoe le fandaharana mialoha fotsiny ary fa misy hoe fanaovana analizy mihitsy ahitana hoe firy ny olona nahita an'ilay postanao dia firy amin'izay no ny reagira afaka anaovana ao koa ny tonga dia anaovana amin'ny boost be dia be mihitsy zany io Meta Business Suite io zany amin'izay anarana izay ho an'ny compte professionnel mihitsy zany dia il suffit zany hoe maka fotoana mialoha fotsiny ianao anaovana poste maromaro dia tonga dia tsy miasa saina ianao mandritra ny iray volana zany hoe azona tombony be zany izy ara-potoana. Dia raha ohatra koa hoe misy zavatra hoe tiana hofantarina zany ohatrany hoe tiana hofantarina hoe firy marina no ohatrany hoe misy poste nalefa dia hoe firy marina no tena nahita an'iny dia avaizany betsaka dia ohatr'izany dia ao anatiny koa misy an'izay zany intéressant zany fitaovana io afaka ampiasaina.
Right, so I'll pull this up. There we go. So this is what the Meta Business Suite looks like. You can see our Instagram and our Facebook are connected. So for those of you who are just using Facebook right now, the Meta Business Suite makes it really easy to add Instagram and use Instagram without doing double the work. And I'll show you how. So there's a lot of information here. I'm not going to go over all of it, but you can see, recent posts, stories. But right now I'm going to talk about Planner, which lets you schedule things. So you can see here's what has previously happened, but I can schedule things as well. So I'm going to schedule a post for Friday. You can change the times, but right now I'm going to choose Friday, which is June 3rd at 10 a.m. You can decide if it's just on Facebook, just on Instagram, or both. So I'm going to do both right now. And I already wrote this to make things easier. On Fridays, we do Fun Fact Friday. So I put the text here, and then I can add a photo or a video if I wanted. This is my photo that I've picked out ahead of time. So it'll show me a preview of what it looks like here. And then I can customize it if I want it to be different on Facebook or Instagram. So on Instagram, I like to use more hashtags. I keep all my hashtags in a document that lets me, so I can copy and paste, go back to my Instagram post, and then I'm going to add these hashtags. So they'll just be on the Instagram post. So that took just a minute, and now I can hit schedule post, and it takes a second, but it'll show up on my calendar eventually. And you can then do that for a whole week or a month. It makes it really easy to see there. Now it's popping up. There we go. The Instagram and Facebook. Lets you post a lot at one time.
Itany ho aseho le meta business vita amin'ny resantsika teo a. Ny fantenena teo hoe misy karazana zavatra be dia be hita zany tonga dia résumé daholo hoe reto ny postanao taloha, reto no comment, reto nanao réaction, ohatran'izany a. Fa raha anao an'le fandaharana melotsika dia any amin'le planeur io zany tedaviny, any ambanimbany any misy planeur dia misy an'io araky ny hitantsika io hoe mampiditra post ianao a, misafidy daty a, heure dia afaka be dia be ny alahatrao, tsy mandoha voly ty meta business fit ty a. Rehefa manana page Facebook dia tonga dia manana afaka vao manokatra an'io zany dia manana foana dia afaka alahatrao na posta herinandro, iray volana dia tsy maka fotoana be intsony ianao manao posta zany fa tonga dia milamina ny posta mandritra iray volana. Dia mitambatra ao ny efa noteneniko teo ihany Facebook sy Instagram ho an'izay manana Instagram na te hampiasa izany dia vao maika mora lamy rokoa satria mety hoe mitovy ohatra amin'ny posta ny Facebook sy Instagram fa hashtag fotsiny no fampiasa no tena mampiavaka azy ny Instagram dia asiana hashtag fotsiny dia miaraka schedulena dia mitovy dia milamina anao avy eo tsy mandany fotoana be intsony. Fa ny tsara marihana angamba ny hitantsika teo zao nanao post Laurent dia manana lista na hashtag izy. Izany hoe tsy hoe anohatra le post hoe izy vao heritreritra be foana hoe inona moa zany tokony hashtag eto, fa efa mahafantatra hoe momba inona ny organisation anao, inona ny mety ho hashtag fadraiky amin'izay, dia efa manana lista na hashtag amin'ny fanao amina karazana post quelque part dia copiena sy collena le nataon'ireo fotsiny fa tsy hoe foana vao manohatra. Le hiezaka hanamora an'le asa foana zany no ezahana atao anatin'izay rehetrarehetra izay.
One other tool to talk about is Zoom, which we're using right now, which is great for live programs. You're also able to connect, if you're doing a video on Zoom, to Facebook Live. You do need to have a paid account, but I'll quickly pull up actually. Kind of how you do this. Again, you need to have one of these accounts to be able to do this part, but you just allow for live streaming of meetings in your settings, and then during the actual meeting, there's a little button that hits more, and you can do live on Facebook, and then you just follow the prompts. And so this can double your audience if you are doing something on Zoom. You can then also have people watching on your Facebook at the same time.
Dia zavatra anankiray tsara fatarina koa rehefa hoe social media dia ny Zoom. Rehefa hoe manana compte professionnel ianao zany amin'ny réseaux sociaux dia tsara ihany mahafantatra ny Zoom moa zany ty ampiasaintsika ity satria rehefa manao événement ianao en ligne moa zany zao no tena mahazatra ny événement tena betsaka dia afaka relienao amin'ny page Facebook-nao iny dia lasa manao live ho azy ao amin'ny Facebook ohatra zany ka misy événement karakarainao ka tianao hoe ahita n'iny mpanaraka anao nefa ny hoe misy événement en ligne amin'ny Zoom dia tsy voatery hoe sady mbola misahirana anao live Facebook indray fa reliena fotsiny dia tonga dia miposa ho azy ihany. Fa mila fotsiny ny Zoom mila payant izy amin'izay eto izany mandoha vola fa ilay teo tsisy mandoha vola. Fa ny Zoom mila compte payant zany hoe misy hoe compte pro zay dia izay ilay izy vao afaka manao hoe mpandraiky amin'ny Facebook live.
So we're kind of getting to the end now. We're hoping to have you do a little homework. And if you're able to come back next week to meet again, we're hoping that you can create a sample post that we can then discuss next week. So when you're creating your post, think about who is your audience for this post, what's your goal, what's the best platform for this post. So, you know, those of you who are using Facebook, if you're considering trying a new platform, maybe this is a great time to try it out. And then we're going to talk next week about analytics. So all of these sites have data you can look at to see how your posts are performing, and we'll talk about how you can use that to improve your social media. And hopefully if you can do your posts in the next few days, then we can see, you know, how it goes over the next week.
Amaranantsika anazy alohan'ny fantaliana dia misy asa kely entomody zany no ampanaovina antsika zany zany ievaluentsika ny zavatra hita teo zany hoe mahazonareo tsara hoe tena nanandrana amin'izay nareo dia hitanareo hoe izao no mahasamihafa anazy dia mba mipublier post anankiray avy isaky ny page ny organisation dia rehefa mipublier an'izy io dia eritreretina tsara hoe ny zavatra hitantsika rehetra teo zany jerena hoe sokajiny loatra nahoana no tiana tratrarina, inona no tena tanjoko amin'ity, misy teo hoe mampafantatra ve, manentana olona hanao zavatra mihitsy ve, dia arak'izay zany dia hoe inona amin'ilay anankitelo teo no mety kokoa andefasana anazy. Misy moa zany tsika hoe mety mbola tsy manana Twitter sy Instagram raha ohatra koa hoe vonona ny hanomboka dia tsy maninona mihitsy fa ny tongetsany amin'ny herinandro any mba efa nandefa posta daholo. Tsara tsy miandry ela be zany hoe amin'ny herinandro vao atao fa hoe rapitso ohatra narapaka pitso ho an'izay manana fotoana malalaka kely dia manao posta anankiray publiena amin'ny page dia ho jerentsika amin'izay avy eo ity atao hoe analytics ity, zany hoe analizentsika zany io misy zavatra afaka analizena maro manko zany ao ambadika ny post iny avy eo jerentsika hoe iza no nahita, mety ve le izy dia inona mety napety azy misy tsy mety kely ve dia inona le mety tsara amboarina amin'izay dia izay no jerentsika dia manatenantsika zany havita devoir daholo dia amin'ny herinandro tsika mahita anazy hoe mety mbola misy fanontaniana indray nareo aorianan'izay rehefa hitanareo hoe nanahoana le post. Tsy haiko hoe mahazo daholo ve le resaka devoir.
So we're kind of at the end now. We'll definitely I think we have a little time for any questions that you have now. Also, if you have questions in the next week or questions right now that we might not have an answer to right away, we'll definitely have time to answer those at next week's session. But if you have any questions, pressing questions right now, we're happy to answer them before we pass it back to Lucia to close us out. Does anyone have any questions? You can do it in chat or unmute yourself if you have a question.
In fact, we have two questions in the chat. First, it's Madagascar Avocats who asked, is it different, like to make, when do we make just a post, like a text with a photo, or just a poster without text, with any text, without any text? Just how do we choose? Do we need to post a photo without text on the photo, but then a caption, or just a poster with the text in the poster and then no text in the caption?
I'd say it's usually a good idea to have a caption, even if there's, I might be getting the question wrong, but even if there's text in the photo, like in a poster, is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I'd say it's good to have it both in the, if there's text in the image, to have that same info in the caption as well. Some people read more easily the caption, so I would say put both.
Tenen'ny Laura zay zany dia tsara foana tsy dia tsara zany manao hoe mandefa sary na dia hoe poster ary le sary alefaka hoe tsy asiana texte miaraka aminazy. Raha ohatra zany ka hoe tsy nanam-potoana nanaovana poster dia sary fotsiny miaraka amina texte soratana mihitsy zany eo iny atao hoe caption dia mety. Raha hoe nanam-potoana nanaovana poster dia tsara be satria anaty poster koa visuel tonga dia misarika ny olona fa le soratra ao anatin'ny poster iny verenana soratana eo amin'ny caption zany dia amin'izay tsy dia tsara zany hoe mandefa sary amin'izao zany mety tsy dia mahasarika le misarika olona no tena atao zany raha ny fanazavany Laura tsy haiko hoe mahafapo an'ny Madagasikara voakatsy ve le valim-panontaniana. Then we have another question. Is it available on the web to make stories on Facebook and Instagram with the little tools with it? I don't think so.
It's definitely harder. There's new tools with that Meta Business app that you might be able to do that on the web. That's not something I've done, but that's a good question. I will look into that and I will make sure I have a good answer next week to see if you can do the stories from the web.
And they say zany Davidson hatreto aloha zany tsy mitovy ny amin'ny telefônina sy ny web dia ny version web ny story mbola tsy dia misy option be dia be ohatran'ilay amin'ny telefôna fa ho verifien'ny Laura zany dia amin'ny herinandro teneny eo satria ny teneny teo hoe amin'ile Meta Business Suite le nijerentsika teo iny ohatran'ny efa manomboka misy option dia ho verifieny dia amin'ny herinandro zany confirmeny amin'ny Davidson hoe mety ve izay.
Okay, is there any other questions?
Mbola nisy manana fanontaniana ve?
And don't worry if you don't have any right now. The whole point of having a second session next week at this same time during the same link is to able to not only please do the homeworks, we really encourage that because that's how you might get some more questions when you're actually doing it, but also it gets time to process what we learned today and to come up with questions or comments or other ideas how we can help you and support you with your social media skill set for you guys.
Raha ohatra hoe mbola misy fanontaniana afaka mbola mametraka mbola misy fotoana kely ho an'izay tsy manana dia amin'ny herinandro ohatr'izao zany tsika tsy hanao présentation lavabe intsony fa tonga dia ampiseho an'ilay devoir teo dia miady hevitra eo tsika hoe ahoana ny fahitantsika anazy dia afaka mametraka fanontaniana mbola mametraka fanontaniana zany ho an'izay hoe mety hoe mbola heritreritra kely izay vao mety hanana fanontaniana. Dia raha ohatra ny hoe tsisy fanontaniana intsony dia amin'ny herinandro any zany.
Okay. A big thank you to Laura and Yamundra and Lynn, and especially for all of you for your interest and for participating today and doing all the hard work that you're doing. We're just trying to help you enhance your work and make it more effective so we can have more collaboration and work and have greater impact. Thank you so much, everyone, and we will be seeing you next week.
Sasha be antsika zany nanasiany asika androany zay ny afatra avy amin'ny initiateur zany mankasitraka antsika mihitsy tsy amin'ny androany ihany fa amin'ny asa ataontsika sy ny fiaramiasany alitsaina hatramin'izay dia manantena antsika indray amin'ny herinandro any fakahita eto.
Thank you. Please feel free to share the webinar with your colleagues, and please, if they didn't come today, please tell them that they can still come next session.
Ie, dia izay zany aza misalasala raha mbola misy na tsy nanatrika androany ka mbola misy mpiara-miasa te hanatrika amin'ny fanontaniana sy ohatr'izany afaka mifampiresaka nareo dia afaka tonga foana na miarina androany aza vao tonga. Dia misaotra betsaka antsika.
Misaotra betsaka, Belum.
Belum. Belum daholo.
Thank you.